Hare Krishna. Welcome to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple for our Srimad Bhagavatam discussion every day. I had to go for the screen because of the old age now. Even with the glasses, I can't read the small font, so I have to put something bigger. So yeah, that's the excuse for me to have the screen. Okay. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 27, verse number 7. Duhetur deshottarasatam pitru matru yashaskarihi shilodarya gunopeta paurajanya prajapate दुहितुरदशोत्तरशतम् पितृमात्र यशस्करिः शीलोदार्यगुणोपेता पौरजन्य प्रजापते दुहितुरदशोत्तरशतम् पितृमात्र यशस्करिः शीलोदार्य गुणोपेता पौरजन्य प्रजापते प्रभु जी दुहितुरदशोत्तरशतम् पितृमातृ यशस्करिः शीलोदार्य गुणोपेता पौरजन्य प्रजापते दुहितुर्दशोत्तरशतम् पितृमात्र यशस्करिः शीलोदार्य गुणोपेता पौरजन्य प्रजापते दुहितुरदशोत्तरशतम् पितृमातृ यशस्करिः शीलोदार्य गुणोपेता पौरजन्य प्रजापते माताजी दुहितुरदशोत्तरशतम् पितृमातृ यशस्करिः शीलोदार्य गुणोपेता पौरजन्य प्रजापते दुहितुरदशोत्तरशतम् पितृमातृ यशस्करिः शीलोदार्य गुणोपेता पौरजन्य प्रजापते दुहितर daughters, dasha uttara 10 more than, satam 100, pitra like the father, matra and mother, yashas kratihi glorified, sila good behavior, audarya magnanimity, good guna good qualities, upetaha possessed of, Purañjanaha daughters of Purañjana, Prajāpati O Prajāpati. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Prajāpati, King Prācīnabarhiṣat. In this way, King Purañjana also begot 110 daughters. All of these were equally glorified like the father and mother. Their behavior was gentle and they possessed magnanimity and other good qualities. Purport. Children begotten under the rules and regulations of scriptures generally becomes as good as the father and the mother. But children born illegitimately mainly become Varna Sankara. The Varna Sankara population is irresponsible to the family, community, and even to themselves. Formerly, the Varna Sankara population was checked by the observation of reformatory method called Garbhadana Samskara, a child begetting religious ceremony. In this verse, we find that although King Purañjana had begotten so many children, they were not Varna Sankara. All of them were good, well-behaved children, and they had good qualities like their father and mother. Even though we may produce many good children, our desire for sex that is beyond the prescribed method is to be considered sinful. Too much enjoyment of any senses, not only sex, result in sinful activities. Therefore, one has to become Swami or Goswami at the end of life. One may beget children up to the age of 50, but after 50, one must stop begetting children and should accept the Vanaprastha order. In this way, he must leave home and then become a sannyasi. A sannyasi title is Swami or Goswami, which means that completely refrain from sense enjoyment. One should not accept the sannyasa order whimsically. He must be fully confident that he can restrain his desire for sense gratification. King Purañjana's family life was, of course, very happy. As mentioned in this verse, he begot 1100 sons and 110 daughters. Everyone desires to have more sons than daughters, and since the number of daughters was less than the number of sons, it appears that King Purañjana family life was very comfortable and pleasing. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupak Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rushabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripiya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Vacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Vishpadaya Krishna Vasai Bhadreshi Devan Taswami Dinamri Pachari Prakshanti Bhaktadira Prataja Vikaranya Mr. Sarvajayat. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. I would request all the senior Vaishnavas who are present here and listening online maybe, please bless me so that I can speak something which will change or touch the heart, and everyone here, including me, feel encouraged to read and learn Srimad Bhagavatam a bit more. So I will try my best to speak something about it. So so far we are into the story of King Purañjana. We have seen about up to six slokas here, where how King Purañjana's wife, she is bringing him under control. The second verse, it was mentioned that she was actually wearing auspicious garments, and that was another point which I was actually thinking about. Is what could be an auspicious garment, and that is also the one which we have to think about, like which we use for the puja and like the events which are auspicious, like we are sitting for the yajna or something. They're like auspicious garments. The King Purañjana, because of that, he gets deviated from his good senses, and then he could not understand the meaning of the self-realization that is mentioned in the fourth shloka. Then, with his hearts full of lust and sinful reactions, they engage into the activity and begets 108 children, 1100 children and 110 daughters. In the business, he passes away half of his lifetime. So how quickly the life goes, it's like that. It just passes so quickly. Yesterday, Raja Vinoda Machaji talked about the controlled married life as well. The controlled as in how we have to be in the Grihastha Ashrama and how we can control our life throughout that. So thank you for that, Mataji. I'm going to tap on some of her points today. The main point which is mentioned into the purport today, it says, children begotten under the rules and take the characteristics of the parents. Now, if we see some of the examples in the past, that we see the children are referred to their parents, like Anjani Putra, like Pavana Putra. The very interesting one, which is from Mahabharata, is the Gandhari Putra. Okay? Gandhari Putra is, even though he's bad, he had so many bad qualities, but his mother was having so many good qualities. She was a very good Shiva devotee. She was very dedicated, and her chastity as well towards Dhritarashtra. So he was also called Gandhari Nandana. If we see the one which is another one which is Lord Arjuna, he is called as a Kaunteya, son of Kunti. Of course, the Lord is called Yashoda Nandana, Devaki Nandana, Nanda Nandana. So his parents are also referred, and they get the person or the child gets referred to by his parents. The very famous one is the Rama Rama Jaya Raja Ram, Rama Rama Jaya Sita Ram, Kaushalya Dasharatha Nandana Ram. So Kaushalya and Dasharatha both are called, referred here, and even Lord, whose parents are glorified because of that. Then, looking at Ashwatthama, he was called as a Drona Putra. He was referred as Drona Putra. Bhima Putra, Ghatotkacha, also called Bhima Putra. Bhishma was called as a Ganga Putra, so he was referred to. So there are so many examples. But have you ever seen that Kamsa, even though he was very powerful, was he referred as Ugrasena Putra? No, isn't it? He was never referred as. Even the Kamsa had two sons, Asti and Prapti. Were they called as a Kamsa, Nandana or something? No. Take example of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, who was son? Hiranyakashipu Putra. Hiranyakashipu Nandana ki jai. Do we say that? No. We just say Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. So I never heard any son's name or daughter's name like Shurpanaka or Putana. They didn't have any, we don't see any references into that. So when in the past, if you see some of these pastimes which are played on the serials, or when we see, they always come and say, if somebody is not known, give me your introduction, aapka parichay dijiye. Then what they say, I am such and such person, such a daughter of such and such, or son of such and such person. They always refer them to that. Not that I'm, what is my name, Mac. Hey, how are you, Mike? It's not like that. It's always the references like that. In some parts of India as well, and this is also being taught to us since childhood, that whenever somebody asks your name, you have to give them full name. So I have to tell my name, my parents' name, and my surname as well. So it tells about my lineage. Who is my father? Who is my grandfather? My lineage is there. What is my lineage? And some places in South India, they also refer to the village or the area which they come from as well. So you have to tell your introduction in a such a way that your parents or your guru is glorified. He is my such and such. So sometimes Arjuna will tell, I am the Drona Shishya Arjun. He will tell like that. So that way as we can see, if the children are begotten based on the scriptural values, then they are glorified. Not only that, their parents are also glorified. Lord's parents are glorified like that. I heard this story from someone I was working with. He said in Australia, nowadays we go for a license, we go for a test, we give exam, driving tests and so on and so forth. But earlier in some country part, earlier the police used to give the license. So you go to police, you apply, and they will give you the license. They will first check who are your parents. Can they are disciplined? What is your parents' record? If your parents' record is clean, there's a good chance that you will get a license. So you don't have to go through all the hassle of giving tests and so on and so forth. So that was the past, even in the Western countries as well, like in the past. But nowadays it's all different. It's all going towards the Varna Sankara, which we'll talk about. So the process of getting the good children is also mentioned into the purport by Prabhupada, is Garbhadana Samskara. The Garbhadana Samskara is the first Samskara which is done on the baby even before it is born. Okay. So there are Samskaras which is called as a Sodasha Samskara, 16 Samskaras which are there. 4 Samskaras is done before the birth. Even before the birth, the 4 Samskaras are done. Next 11 Samskaras are done after the birth. And there is 1 Samskara which is done after the death. Okay. So it is very interesting to see that when we say Samskara, it is not only after we take the birth. The 4 Samskaras which are done are before our birth as well. So Garbhadana Samskara, that is called as a first birth. Sorry. Can you call Aditya? He's calling. So Garbhadana Samskara is the first one, and it is called as well as a first birth of the soul, or the first birth. When we get initiated, when we get the Brahmana initiation, what we call as a Dvija. Dvija means second born, isn't it? So first time we get birth, it is during the Garbhadana. During the Garbhadana also there are prayers where we actually say that may Vishnu construct the womb. So from there itself we invoke Lord to help us into the getting the children. Prajāpati sprinkle the seed, Deity cherish the embryo, and Ashwini Kumaras, who are the doctors of what you call the celestial doctors, they garland the lotuses, garland the womb with the lotuses. So like we prepare the soil for the crops, in the same way the womb also gets prepared, so that the right soul can enter and cherish in that womb. The next samskara, which is done after that, is called a Pumsavana, which is done after the 3 months of the embryo is being established. This is for the physical and mental development of the baby. In Canto 3, when Kapila Muni is talking about the development of the embryo, he describes in few shlokas how the embryo is being developed and how it is the Lord's wish, and by your karma, what type of soul it comes into the womb of the mother. Then there is another samskara, which is the third one. It is called Pumsavana Samskara. That is for the behavior and conduct of the thinking of the mother and the baby. If you remember, there are 2 examples during this time when the baby inside the womb of the mother got benefited. One is Prahlad Maharaj, and the second one was in Mahabharata, Arjuna's putra, Abhimanyu was another one who actually got the knowledge within the womb of the mother. So that Simantana, which is a ritual for the mother of being alert, Achar, Vichar and Shravana. So that's why it is very important for the mother to be very alert, not very dull. You have to be in association with the positive-minded people, Vichar, which will give you good thoughts. And Shravana. Shravana means you have to listen good scriptures like reading Krishna book or Srimad Bhagavatam like that. So these are the examples which are there in there. Then there is a Jata Karma. Jata Karma means basically this is after the birth, where the dosha of the birth time is being taken out. If we see that at that time the honey and the ghee is being touched to the lips of the baby at that time when the baby is born, and a mantra is chanted into the ear at that time of the baby. Then Namakaran Sanskara. Namakaran is also a Sanskara. Based on what time of the day you born, what your kundali is being matched, based on that, you take the name out of it, and many a times nowadays what we see is we request our Guru Maharajas to name the baby based on the whatever the name comes out of the Patrika. The next one, which is the Nishkarma, means basically taking out the baby. And that is done after the 4th month. And that is also a samskara. That means you are introducing the baby to the rest of the world. So these are all the little sanskaras which are very important. I've seen many a times nowadays babies which comes out of the hospital, moms drive straight to the KFC or McDonald's. And the babies are still like maybe that size. They're there in the pram. Moms are eating whatever they feel like. But during that time, even taking out the baby is also called as a sanskara. You take the baby to show it to the deities, come to the deities, offer it to the deities, to take the blessings from the Lord, go to the different elderly parents or elderly people within the village, get their blessings like that. But it is not like that. Straight to the hospital, straight to the KFC or McDonald's, straight home, put the baby into the the daycare. Next day mom is at work. So this is a Kali Yuga style. Obviously it is going to take the effect of children becoming a Varna Sankara. Then after the 5 years or 3 years or 5 years, the Mundan Sanskara is done, where the hair of the baby is being taken out. If you remember one pastime of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he was getting troubled by one tantric, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur started reciting Srimad Bhagavatam at that time. But there was one action also being taken by him. He said that do a mundan of that tantric, because they store their energy into their hair. So after that, the tantric was less effective, but obviously the Bhaktivinoda Thakur was reading Srimad Bhagavatam at that time, which helped him more. The Mundan Sanskara helps to get the intellect of the child done. Now, as you can see how it is being progressed step by step, right from the Garbhadana Sanskara to here. Then there are few sanskaras which are done. I won't go through them all, but then it comes as a Vivaha Samskara. Vivaha Samskara is the one where both the husband and wife take the vow to progress onto the spiritual path. Correct? And then if we see the shloka where it is mentioned that they were both Shila. Shila means what? Sushila means the good character. The children which was begotten by Maharaj Purañjana and Puranjani, they were good characters. And there was very important character which was mentioned is Audarya. Audarya means what? The magnanimity which is mentioned by Prabhupada. But there is another meaning of magnanimity is the generosity, which means giving away. There was one senior Vaishnava who was telling about his grandmother, he said that his grandmother will not, because she used to live in a village, she will not eat till the bus which comes to their village in the afternoon, say 1 o'clock or something. Once that bus comes and half an hour is passed after that, then she will start taking meal. Because at that time, someone, Atithi means what? The one person who comes without ringing you. He just comes all of a sudden, I'm here. So someone may come catching that bus, he may come and we have to offer him the food. So she will cook after that. As soon as he comes, she will start cooking. If no one comes, then she will start having the food. I believe this was pretty much standard practice in the villages. There is a say in Marathi and obviously other languages too, that if you have one sesame seed, one single sesame seed, we should be able to distribute that among 7 people. How small it is? It's very small. But the generosity should be there that I should share. Nowadays, only thing is what? Sharing is caring. If my son or daughter shares his toys with other, he's generous. That wasn't the during the Vedic time. That wasn't the case. The very good example of generosity from Mahabharata is Karna. Karna was very generous. He used to donate whatever somebody asks, he will donate. Even Indra came to ask for the Kavacha and Kundala to protect Arjuna in that way. On a lighter note, after that, there is no samskara needed because husband and wife will do samskara on each other in the married life. The last samskara which is there is the anteshti, so which is done after the death of the person, and that is to help the soul to understand that this particular body is now gone. You cannot acquire this body again. All the connections to this body are now disconnected. They are gone. So that is also a samskara, so that the soul can start on his next journey. Otherwise, he will still lingering around. What is going to happen? How my son and daughters are going to distribute my wealth? Are they going to take care of it? Or are they going to just finish everything in one day? So much attachment. There is a good example by Prabhupada. When Prabhupada, I think it was in Melbourne Temple, when he was walking into the temple, on the boundary wall of the temple, there was one little tree coming out of the wall. And Prabhupada pointed a stick to that and said, he could be a previous owner of this property. So this much attachment we actually get, saying that my property, how it is going to get distributed. There are so many examples where people get attached to and end up into the life of what you call the bhuta, preta, and that sort of ghostly. The second point which is mentioned into the purport by Prabhupada is about the Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara means the children unwanted progeny. If we see the Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 verse 42, Doshe rete kulagnana varna sankarakare utsadhyante jati dharma kuladharma cha shashvata. So, Arjuna's one reason not to fight is that if I do that, this is going to lead to Varna Sankara. How many people got killed into the Mahabharata war? About 4 million people or more. Somewhere around 4 million. So if all these 4 million people will die, mostly men, then what is going to happen? All the women are going to get exploited, and that will lead to Varna Sankara. So he was very concerned about it, and he didn't want to fight the war for that. That is another example which is there is Prabhupada mentions that all the education which we get through our educational institute, what is the use of it? How we are actually contributing this for the benefit of the society. So say for example, I become engineer. What is my contribution to the society? My contribution to the society is only thing is society or my employee gives me money and then I enjoy. That is the only contribution I have for my society. What else is there? There is nothing else. Unless and until a person who uses his qualification for the benefit of the mankind or the humankind, it is useless. Somebody will say, oh, I'm working in hospital, I'm working in building the bridges, so and so forth. But it is just an exchange of services. Nothing more than that, what you are giving it to the society and how much you are actually receiving from the society. So there is a vast ratio difference within that. Prabhupada actually talks about it as. Then Prabhupada talks about controlled sense enjoyment, which Mataji also talked about yesterday. There is a very good shloka from scriptures. It says, Kuranga matanga patanga brunga meena hata pancha bhirebya pancha eka pramadi sakatham nahanyate sas yas sevate pancha bhirebya pancha. Kuranga means what? Deer. How the hunter hunts the deer in the past? They used to take someone who can play a flute or a music. As soon as the music, how much is the antelopes are very agile, isn't it? They can run very fast. Even cheetahs who has got the speed of 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds cannot catch them. Their success rate is only 50%. So that much agile is there. But as soon as he hears the music, he would raise his ear and wants to see where the music is coming from. As soon as they see it, they become like what they call frozen to listen to the music, and then the archer just kills them. The next one is the elephant, which is the representation of the sense of touch. So if you want to catch an elephant in the past, nowadays you can just give him a dart and capture him in that way. But in the past, what they used to do, they used to train a she elephant who will rub next to the male elephant. She will run. She will go past a big ditch, but the elephant will take a shortcut. The male elephant will take a shortcut, and he will fall into a ditch. Then that male elephant will be captured, and then he will become a slave for logging or all other activities. The next example which is given is a moth. Patanga. Matanga means elephant, patanga means moth. If you see the moth on the street lights, they will try to hit that light as much as they want. They want to get into that light. If you have a fire, they will get consumed by fire, but they will die, they will lose their life. But they are so attracted towards, their eyes are attracted towards that light, so they go there. Obviously, fishing industry is very, very big in Australia. Fish, Meena, means fish. He gets attracted to that little food which is attached to the hook. His mouth gets tugged and he loses his life. The next one is the bee, which is a brunga. Brunga, he has got so much power that he can actually pierce the petals so easily. But he gets attracted of the smell of the flowers, lotuses, and he goes there, he sits there. In the evening when the lotus closes, he gets trapped and gets suffocated within the lotus. So when the next morning the lotus opens, you will find a brunga inside there, but he is dead. Now, the shloka actually says very interesting. It says, Eka pramati sakatham nahanyate. What can we tell if these animals get killed by only one of their senses gets attracted or go haywire? Sasevate pancha birebya pancha. So if someone is serving all the five senses, what would be his condition? If only one sense is taking you to the death, what will be the situation when all five senses will go haywire and pull you towards the death? And this death is not only talking about it's only talking about the material death as well as the spiritual death as well. Because we are getting indulged into the senses so much that we forget what is the purpose of life, what is the destination of life, and so on and so forth. Prabhupada talks about taking a vanaprastha ashram, and in vanaprastha ashram you start going to the vana, leaving all your achievements behind, I would say that. But nowadays what happens is, we take our all achievements. I was just going past the harbor bridge just now. There are big cruise liners sitting there. After 50, what happens? My son, daughters are on their way now. What do? Book a cruise ship. Go there. There are some specific cruise, I heard about it. It's advertised, no kids on the cruise. So you can indulge into the senses 24/7. What is on the ship? Dance, music, poker, gambling, so on and so forth. As much liquor as you want. It is as good as you are out in the sea 24/7, where you have lots of rules where you can't play big music and so on and so forth. But out in sea you can do whatever you like. So they take you into the sea, you go there and enjoy. So that is a vanaprastha. I'm going into the vanaprastha. That's it. Leaving all the city behind, I want to be on my own vanaprastha, going into the ocean and enjoying there. But vanaprastha was never meant to be for enjoyment. It was meant to have the self-realization, walking towards the self-realization and becoming a sannyasi. A sannyasi should not accept the sannyasa ashram whimsically as well. He should be, as our Guru Maharaj says, bhakti need guidance. On every step of it, we need guidance. So he should be, Prabhupada mentioned into the purport, he should be confident that he can restrain the senses. Then only he can go for a sannyasa ashram. If he wants to go for sannyasa ashram and if he is still attached to the material activities and material belongings, then there is no point. One example which is actually not so good from the past, especially in Maharashtra, Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj, his parents took a sannyas, but they came back to the grihastha life again. And they begot the children, and that was a very troublesome time for that. I would say that their parents accepted the sannyasa whimsically, but this transition they did, coming back from sannyasa to grihastha again, and it was a very troublesome time for them because the society sort of asked them to, or they did not cooperate, the society did not cooperate. Now if we see here, Maharaj Purañjana begot 1100 sons and 110 daughters. And it is mentioned that as he was having less number of daughters and more number of sons, his life was very happy. And I was thinking, why is it so? But in the past, if you see, people will go into the war so much. There will be lots of fight. And mostly who will go into the war? Male used to go into the war. If we see, as we discussed, 18 Akshayani Sainya, which was about 4 million people were killed in 18 days. 4 million people in 18 days were gone. That's it. So, I was thinking that who are all the women who actually went into the war in the past, which are mentioned into the scripture. The famous one which actually came in my mind was Kaikeyi. So Kaikeyi actually went into the war with Maharaj Dashrath, who was helping the gods to fight against the demons. And she saved his life, and at that time he gave her 2 boons. And she asked them to send Ram into the exile. The other example which I actually thought about, Satyabhama. Satyabhama was the one who went and killed Narakasura, as she was the incarnation of Mother Bhumi, and Narakasura had a blessing that he would be only killed by his mother, which is a Bhumi. So she could kill him and helped Lord in his mission, Paritrāṇaya Sadhunām Vinācāya Duṣkritāṃ. The other example where we will see that she did not go into the war, but she knew how to drive the chariot. So if you look at the Mother Rukmini, she was she took the chariot, control of the chariot when she was running away with Lord from her parents. The other example which came into my mind was the Chitrangada. Chitrangada was she was from Manipur, and she was wife of Arjuna. And she had a son, Babru. But Chitrangada herself was raised as a boy. She was raised as a boy because her father, Chitravahana, was expecting a boy. He didn't get a boy, but so he raised Chitrangada as a boy, but she then ended up getting married to Arjuna, and Babru was her son. Then another example which is there was Ulapi. Ulapi was another example, which she was Nagakanya, but somewhere I don't know exact reference here, but she helped Chitrangada to raise Babru as well. So she helped Babru to get trained into the warfare activities as well. Obviously very famous, which is the Durga Mata, who killed the, we celebrate the Navratri because of her. In the recent past, if you see Jhansi, Queen of Jhansi, who fought against Britishers there. So in that way, if you see, 1100 sons, they may go into the war, and as you see, Gandhari, she had 100 sons, all of them were lost. So in such situation, Maharaj would say that at least there's a good percentage or good chance that 1 or 2 sons will at least stay with me and continue the lineage. With the daughters, he will have to find the appropriate husband. If you see the Swayamvar of Sita, where that Dhanusha was getting broken or got broken by Lord Ram, she used to play with that Dhanusha. So she was that powerful that she could actually play, she could actually lift that Dhanusha herself. But none of the other warriors could pick it up. So you have to find the husband who is of an equal caliber of that. There is another example which was given by another senior Vaishnava. When Arjuna got married to Draupadi, he was in the attire of Brahmana. So he actually got married in terms of like he is as representing a Brahmana. So Maharaj was her father was very curious that who are these people actually? Where were they before? And he sent someone behind them to find out who they are actually. Where is my daughter going now? And this person who is the spy comes back and tells Maharaj that they are definitely Kshatriya. Because what they are actually talking about are themselves is archery, all like Gada Yuddha, Bhala, how about the horses, war and administration and all that. If you are in this association of Brahmanas, then they will talk about this particular mantra, they will discuss some pastimes and like that. But they are not discussing that. They are always talking about the Shastra, administrative activities, so and so. They are definitely from the Kshatriya. So in such way, if we see the Maharaj Purañjana was satisfied that he has more children and less daughter to worry about and give away all his daughters. But the main point which is there, which is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada, which I like the most is, because of he begot the children in a very Vedic way or proper way, his children were glorified as their parents were. Even though it is an allegorical story, it gives us so many points that how we should lead our life in a way that we become Krishna conscious, and we should not get indulged into the sense gratification and so on and so forth. I think I'll stop here today. Any questions, corrections, comments? Good. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.